Thank you for choosing to watch the Watchman News Headlines video. Our full episodes can now be seen over at Patreon with much more added content for just $2 a month. Link is in the description. If you cannot afford $2 a month, please consider using our Amazon affiliate link, purchasing from our Teespring store, or making a PayPal donation. All links are below. In order for us to grow, we have to make changes to enable it. Our time is valuable, and we have been one of the very few news sources actually dedicated to bringing you honest, hard-hitting, actionable news and information. Plus, for your $2 a month, you do not have to hear me blabber about these links. It's a win for us all.
Bullshit.
Thank you. Good evening, Watchmen and Watchwomen of YouTube. So tonight over on Patreon, we just discussed various amounts of things, a lot of it involving government surveillance, different things the government is doing to seize more control and track us and whatnot. Talked about that and various other subjects. It was kind of a free-for-all. Nonetheless, I want to remind everybody we are coming up on the beginning of a new month. And if you want to hop on to Patreon, we're not big over there yet. We've got 5 patrons right now. We're not huge over there. You're going to start seeing quite a bit more content. In fact, there's a video on making edibles. And in fact, not just any edibles, but pygmy broccoli infused edibles. I'm not kidding you. Pygmy broccoli infused edibles. And there's going to be a video that I will likely be posting tomorrow over there on Patreon on how to make that. So, and then we got tons of stuff coming. I got one of the shed parts or packages in for the shed today. Tomorrow I'm supposed to get, I guess, the rest of it. And so hopefully this weekend I'll be able to get started on the shed. Of course, that's going to be content I'm going to shoot video of and all of that. I'm going to do things to reinforce the shed beyond what they provide. I'm going to show everybody how to do that, make your shed really, really strong in comparison to the way they have it designed. And anyway, all that's going to be over on Patreon. So I might put like little bitty clips or something here on YouTube, but the majority of it's going to be over there. So I'm just saying, I think I got a lot to offer. I think I got a lot to show people, and I think it's worth it. Plus, the monologues and stuff I talk about, it's worth it. The more people we get over there, we'll get people asking questions. We'll get, more things going on. So, kind of all works together. So, don't mean to give it a big infomercial like that, but it is what it is. I mean, all kind of, works together. Anyway. Let me go ahead and get into the headlines, and I am going to get out of here for the week. How's that sound? All right. Starting from headlines that I put out this morning. China launches core module of its planned permanent space station into orbit. Biden singles out white supremacist terrorism as the most lethal threat to America as he pushes for gun control and police reform. See, this is kind of some of the stuff that I was touching on. I mean, it just like the Patreon deal, it all goes hand in hand when it comes to this control that the government's trying to seize. And, of course, that goes hand in hand with the gun control. And, I mean, it's insane. And the police reform thing, I do believe what their intention is to install a federal police. They're not wanting to don't think that they're wanting to completely do away with any type of a control system. Don't be silly. They want to replace the current control system with another control system. Okay? And in order to do that, they got to get you, the public, to demand it. Okay? And so in order to do that, they're going to set up both you, the public, John Q. Public, or Jane Q. Public, and the police. See, you're not the only ones getting set up. They're getting set up too. Right? The reason why I'm still a hard ass on them is because, see, there's this thing called right and wrong. Okay, and we're supposed to be able to decipher between that and make the proper choice on our own, regardless of what orders somebody gives us. So, yeah, I'm going to be a little hard on somebody that wants to try to play some type of bullshit game that they can't differentiate between right and wrong. Especially if you're listed as a public servant of any kind. You damn right I'm going to hold you to a higher standard, as we should. Back when I was younger, you heard that consistently all the time about how public servants were held to a higher standard. Higher. And they were, largely. They really were in comparison to today. Now, I mean, hell, about anything's game. Look at Cuomo. You know? I mean, come on. If that were any one of us, we'd be in jail. Okay? We'd be in jail. It's ridiculous. For so many charges. We'd be charged with the nursing home stuff. We'd be charged with all the sexual stuff. Right? But, hell, he's still at the reins of New York. You know? And you've got the people in this country at each other's throats, wanting to rip each other apart. It is crazy. It is crazy watching it unfold. Anyway, what can you do? Get ready. That's all you can do. I mean, we can speak, and I urge everybody to do so. Speak out. Talk about this stuff. Talk to people. But all in all, you know, make sure you're getting ready, because that's going to be what saves your ass, is what you do, right? But make sure to talk to people, because the more people that get involved, the more people that speak their voices, the better chance that, you know, we can at least slow this down. Anyway, oil to hit $80 on largest ever demand jump, says Goldman Sachs. Republican Representative Boebert brings survival blanket to Biden's speech to draw attention to war zone at U.S.-Mexico border. U.S. lumber prices skyrocket 250% as COVID drives home buying demand higher. Senator Scott blasts Dems for divisive political race baiting. Liberal Twitter brands him Uncle Tim in response. Let's see. Ukrainian diplomats slam Reuters news agency for reporting on costume ball held to mark spring in Crimea. Moderna targets production of 3 billion COVID vaccines in 2022 after CEO warns of future oversupply. Ukrainian far-right nationalists stage march in center of Kiev to mark 77th anniversary of World War II Nazi military division SS Galicia. Let's see. U.S. lawmaker says she's COVID positive after 2 doses of Pfizer. A strong COVID recovery may propel China's GDP growth above target levels, says a report. German government told to firm up climate laws by top court after protest by activists. 1 dead and 18 arrested after Indonesian police intercept $82 million meth shipment from international smuggling ring. A little bit of math. Let's see. A nation no longer divided, how Russians are increasingly remembering rather than erasing the country's bloody Civil War history. Kind of an interesting article. Not enough headway made to restart formal negotiations over divided Cyprus, says UN chief. Russian opposition figure Navalny's political network dissolved by AIDS ahead of possible extremist organization designation. 3 Georgia men accused of murdering black jogger Ahmaud Arbery indicted with federal hate crime charges. A policy disaster waiting to happen, civil rights groups caution White House amid reports of racially motivated menthol cigarette ban plan. So, I don't know all the ins and outs of what's going on here, but let me tell you what I know about what's going on here. Now, I'm under the impression that they're making the claim that the White House planning to ban menthol cigarettes is a racist move. Nah. Now, Jen snickered, but you don't know then, apparently. A lot of African American people smoke menthol cigarettes. Okay, so I can get where somebody might think that could have been a jab at them, but it's not. This is all part of the electronic cigarette and flavor ban crapola. So more directly the flavor ban stuff. That is what this is. It's a direct. It's it has nothing to do with racism. It's not nothing new. This has been coming. This has been being threatened for over a decade, and so some states have already done it, and the federal government has been threatening and looking into doing it for quite some time. So, however, I do try to look for silver linings in any clouds, and I do see one here. And, the old saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And, hey, if they want to stir it up over claims that it's a racist move, I'm not going to fight you. Maybe you can get all this stuff turned back around, you know? You know what? I think the vape mail ban, right? I think the vape mail ban is like the most racist thing I've ever heard of. The vape mail ban is the most racist. I just want to say, just case. That's a recent thing, by the way. If you're not a vapor, you wouldn't know. If you are a vapor, you're probably shaking your head and bitching at me for even mentioning it. Okay, let's see. 4 presidents have been assassinated. Biden condemned for calling Capitol storming worst attack on democracy since Civil War. Ireland moves forward with COVID lockdown relaxation as country's vaccination program gains speed. Crisis in American expertise. Washington has a dangerous and destructive pattern of willful ignorance on Russia in post-Soviet era. Moscow court upholds jailed Russian opposition figure Alexei Navalny's defamation conviction for branding World War II veteran a traitor. Let's see. We are ready. New York City mayor says city to fully reopen on July 1st. Employee at facility for disabled near Berlin detained after 4 patients killed and 1 injured. Keynote speaker Snowden clashes elite crashes elite business investment seminar and urges public not to give organizer money. Ted Cruz and Mitt Romney ridiculed for apparently falling asleep during Biden's speech to Congress. Well, you know. Let's see. 2020 blaze that fueled one of California's largest wildfires deliberately started to hide murder, says police. Germany says children over 12 will be vaccinated against COVID-19 during summer holidays if jab gets go-ahead. Budapest in talks for mutually recognized vaccine passport as Orban discusses pandemic cooperation with China's Xi. UK head teacher prompts outrage and heated debate after revealing her school ban on sexist expressions like boys and girls. Ooh. Don't say boy or girl now, 'cause somebody's gonna cancel culture you. Don't do it. A long-standing and time-tested partner, India thanks Russia after Moscow sends 22 tons of supplies to country in COVID-19 crisis. Ripple plans to go public after settling lawsuit with regulators, says reports. U.S. agency in charge of nukes approves multi-billion-dollar project as Washington urges Iran to curtail its own nuclear program. Nearly a third of Israelis on unemployment benefits refuse to return to work as economy reopens, says a survey. Circuit Court, this has to do with Illinois, or Illinois. Circuit Court rules FOID card makes criminals out of law-abiding citizens. So let me explain here in case you don't know. In the state of Illinois, you have to have a FOID card to own a firearm. That is a firearm owner's identification card. So you have to apply to the state, and as long as you meet all the requirements and all of that, and you pay your $10 or whatever, they after possibly a couple of years, there's a big backlog right now. So I'm not really being sarcastic, but I am. Anyway, so then you get your FOID card, and it's highly unconstitutional. Anybody with a clue in their head understands how unconstitutional that is. So they have been pushing for quite some time to get it actually legally deemed unconstitutional so they can do away with it. So they are apparently making steps forward towards achieving that. So let's hope they do soon. Creators of Russia's Sputnik 5 COVID-19 jab slam fake news from Brazil after country's regulator Anvisa refuses to approve it. Myanmar military bases targeted with rocket fire days after rebels attack outpost on Thai border. I'm the father of the vaccine, Trump says, blasting Biden's speech to Congress. I am your father. Pfizer, Moderna, I am your father. I had to. Couldn't resist. Pentagon investigation into fears of Russian energy weapon attacks on soldiers in Syria finds symptoms down to food poisoning. So it wasn't some high-tech energy weapon after all. Idiots. Jeopardy alumni say show may incite... Let me try that again. Jeopardy alumni say show may incite violence unless it edits out white supremacist okay gesture shown on air. You know, that. It's not white supremacist. It's okay. It's I've been doing that since I was a child, right? You know, when you're doing stuff with airplanes, like say towing a hang glider or something like that. I wasn't involved in towing the big gliders, but I was like hang gliders and stuff. You know, that's a common sign. Okay, you ready? Yeah. Okay. We're not saying white power, man. White power. Go have a good flight, man. No, man. It's okay. You good to go? You ready? I'm just saying, man. It's okay. Oh, that's all it is. Right? Stop listening to 4chan. Wake up call. Africa CDC warns continent risks similar COVID crisis to India. Twitter blocks Uncle Tim slur against black Republican senator from trending but allows users to keep posting it. Macron unveils France's 4-step lockdown exit plan, including emergency break for regions with COVID-19 spikes. Iceland's Fagradalsfjall volcano, I can't say it, continues spectacular eruption after being dormant for 6,000 years. So, sleep for a little while. Which, by the way, I wanted to mention. There's quite a few volcanoes here lately. And I don't know, I haven't looked. I haven't done the research. You may want to look into it. Might be interesting what you find. It'd be interesting to know how many of the more recent volcano eruptions have been from volcanoes that haven't erupted in a long time. That would be some interesting data to look at. I don't know the answer to that. Couldn't tell you. EU drug regulator to review Eli Lilly and Incyte arthritis drug for use in COVID-19 patients on oxygen. Dutch government temporarily disables COVID-19 contact tracing app after it emerges Google apps access data on Android phones. Let's see. By expelling diplomats, West wants to portray Russia as enemy of humanity, Moscow's UN envoy says, warning it takes two to tango. White House reviewing allegation of energy attack in Washington, D.C., reportedly similar to the past Havana syndrome cases. Now, I don't think that's the same thing they were talking about before, but I could be mistaken. I think when they're talking about the Havana syndrome, that has to do with something that happened down in Cuba, which they also was blaming on either Russia or China. I believe Russia. And I don't think that they're the same. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think so. Pro-liberty groups file lawsuits after Connecticut ends long-standing religious vaccine exemption for kids in schools. Spanish police arrest terrorist trio suspected of encouraging attacks against France over Charlie Hebdo Mohammed cartoons. Software giant SAP agrees to pay $8 million in penalties to the U.S. as it admits violating laws with Iran exports. Greenwald blames The Guardian for posting false claim about his relationship with Substack platform. COVID-19 could cause strokes amid young and healthy people, including asymptomatic cases, says a study. Biden's ratings much lower than Trump's least viewed speech to Congress, but he did beat the Oscars. Let's see. Serial sexual assaulter says what? De Blasio and Cuomo continue feud. Governor denies New York Times report that he hid COVID-19 nursing home deaths. Again, if that was any one of us, we'd have been in jail. 18 French active duty servicemen to face military court over open letter blasting Islamist hordes and looming civil war. Congressman in ADL demand censorship of anti-Semitic article about Democrat-led tax push to help the rich. 28 killed and dozens injured in a stampede and structure collapse at crowded bonfire festival in Israel, says reports. Ghislaine Maxwell seen bruised in first prison photo as lawyers keep protesting torturous jail conditions for Epstein confidant. Hamas denounces coup after Abbas delays Palestinian election over East Jerusalem dispute with Israel. I know there's a number 2 up here. A new dangerous chemical leak detected at a nuclear waste site in Washington State. Wow. And the other one's sports. So it's not important. So anyway, there you go. Those are the headlines. Lots of craziness. Keep an eye on stuff going on. Keep an eye on North Carolina. I'm referring to Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and that situation. And just keep an eye out for things to happen on an international scale as well. We got a whole lot of stuff going on to keep an eye out for. So anyway, I am out of here for the week. I hope you all have a good evening and a good weekend, and I will be back on Sunday, God willing. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. Shabbat Shalom.